The Cost of Fame, what BoJack Horseman teaches us about celebrity culture.
And before you answer, remember I'm a celebrity.
Renowned animated comedy BoJack Horseman shows the profound psychological toll that chasing popularity takes on its aspirants, in addition to criticizing the shallow attraction to fame itself. Our exploration will take us into the complex and murky maze of celebrity, where identity, validation, and self-worth frequently collide. We'll explore BoJack's character arc, the cultural pressures that drive it, and the psychological toll that comes with living in the public eye by following his life and witnessing how the search for validation sends one into a downward spiral of self-destruction.
Everyone is just out to get me because I'm famous and so well-adjusted.
BoJack Horseman is a considerably more profound animated comedy than just another ridiculous comedy. It offers an unvarnished and unadulterated critique of celebrity society. Fundamentally, the show shows how celebrity, which is frequently promoted as a means of achieving happiness, fulfillment, and recognition, can easily leave people feeling empty, alone, and ultimately unsatisfied. BoJack, a once-loved sitcom star, tries to represent the toll celebrity takes on those who chase it without addressing their inner difficulties, and his existence is a stark contrast to the glittering environment that he was a part of during his career. The goal of the show is to dispel the false notion that success equates to happiness right from the start. BoJack is not at ease with his money and international fame. In fact, he feels further estranged from any genuine feeling of self-worth the more well-known he is. His incessant yearning for approval from others acts as a metaphor for the emptiness that frequently comes with being a superstar. BoJack has fame, money, and influence, everything that society says should make someone happy, but he is incredibly miserable and emotionally lost. One of the main themes of the show is the conflict between individual misery and public prosperity. In all honesty, the way BoJack's mental and emotional state is portrayed is cruel. Any insecurities he has are magnified by fame, transforming small, private issues into significant, well-reported ones. BoJack's addiction to drink and drugs, his poisonous sexual relationships, or his strained friendships.
Can we please get some alcohol into my mouth?
All of which we will discuss later in this video, all reflect his ongoing search for something to satisfy his inner emptiness. But no matter how hard he tries to find it, in fandom, in recklessness, or in manufactured highs, the emptiness just seems to get bigger. One of the most powerful aspects of BoJack Horseman is its portrayal of the emotional cost of chasing fame. BoJack's internal struggle is a reflection of how celebrity culture creates a false promise of purpose and happiness. However, the series reveals how this perception distorts reality. In BoJack's case, it becomes clear that while the public may worship him, they are only seeing the curated external version of his life. Behind the scenes, he's battling feelings of inadequacy, loneliness, and regret, all compounded by the very fame he once thought would make everything better. What BoJack Horseman also highlights is how the relentless pursuit of fame often leads to a loss of self. For BoJack, the persona of the charming, aloof sitcom star becomes something he can't escape. It defines him, even when he's off the screen, and it becomes a mask he hides behind to avoid dealing with his deeper emotional traumas. Over the course of the show, we see that BoJack's self-destructive tendencies are, in many ways, an attempt to break free from the superficial image that fame has forced him to maintain. His fame provides him with everything he thought he wanted, but it also keeps him from addressing his past, from healing, and from truly understanding who he is outside of his celebrity status. Ultimately, BoJack Horseman provides a sobering look at how fame, far from being the solution to personal problems, can instead become a catalyst for emotional decline. It shines a spotlight on the darker realities of celebrity culture, the way fame can distort a person's sense of self, amplify their inner demons, and leave them feeling more disconnected than ever. BoJack's journey is a powerful exploration of these themes, offering a poignant critique of the dangerous allure of external validation and the heavy psychological cost that comes with chasing the spotlight. Now that we've set the stage, let's take a closer look at the character arc of BoJack to understand him a bit more. Will Arnett flawlessly voices BoJack Horseman, who is a washed-up, self-loathing, and cynical former star of the 90s sitcom Horsin' Around.
With a little horsing around.
From the outside, BoJack is the former TV horse making a faded return as, but under the glitz and glamour of fame, BoJack is an emotionally fragile, broken person who has lived a life of making wrong decision after wrong decision. He is haunted by his troubled past in a way where he constantly feels empty inside. BoJack Horseman playing repeatedly across its 6 seasons is the cycle of self-destruction and a desire for redemption in his character arc.
Life was ruined by a network executive like you.
BoJack is a man who has never stopped seeking external validation to make up for an incomplete childhood and an emotionally dead personal life. He falls back on substances to dull the pain, opting not to deal with his past or accept accountability for his actions. Most of the time, his relationships with friends and even a romantic partner are hostile and extremely selfish. A wanderer from a short-term reality to the next, never journeying or laying roots, all the while refusing to do anything other than leave comings and goings unchanged. BoJack also comes into a few flickers of clarity where he seems to want to own up and make amends. He endeavors to mend his interpersonal links, follow a self-betterment path, and reclaim autonomy over his life. With every step he makes in the right direction, BoJack is equally plagued by the disease of habit renewal. Only a temporary respite behind him before returning back to the same destructive cycle. So often his addiction, guilt, and a horror of failure yank him back into a whirlpool of decision-making and wishes for self-destruction. The narrative of BoJack's character isn't a simple one of atonement. It examines how challenging it is for someone to genuinely change when their sense of self is so entwined in their past transgressions, particularly for a public figure. His growth in the show is shown as being excruciatingly dirty and slow, replete with relapses and a persistent tension between wanting to be a better person and not knowing how. Even though he makes an effort to improve, his self-loathing fears frequently overcome him, making his path to redemption more sad than victorious.
Tell me, please, Diane, tell me that I'm good.
His relationship with other key characters like Diane, Princess Carolyn, and Todd play a pivotal role in his arc, as they often reflect different aspects of BoJack's personality and emotional struggles. Diane serves as his moral compass, someone who sees both the good and bad in him and continuously pushes him to be better, even when he doesn't believe in himself.
You're a good friend. I'm really glad to know you.
Princess Carolyn, his agent, represents the tireless figure in his life who tries to keep him on track professionally and personally.
This could be the best thing that ever happened to me, and if it doesn't make me as happy as...
While Todd, his slacker roommate, offers a glimpse into a simpler, more innocent way of living, free from the trappings of fame.
You have a guest room? Why have I been sleeping on the couch for 5 years?
BoJack's arc is a deep dive into the complexities of a character who, despite his wealth and fame, feels empty, trapped by the weight of his past, and constantly searching for meaning in a world that celebrates his persona but disregards his inner turmoil. The series paints a nuanced portrait of how fame magnifies personal struggles and how difficult it can be to break free from the chains of one's history. Following this point, it's also worth considering the early life trauma that BoJack has suffered from. BoJack's troubled past stems from his poisonous childhood. BoJack had emotional abuse at the hands of his emotionally abusive parents, Butterscotch and Beatrice Horseman, which left him feeling deeply inadequate and unable to build good connections. His father was absentee and negligent, and his mother continually made fun of him, making him feel that he was never good enough. These early tragedies influenced BoJack to become an adult who is continuously looking to other people for approval. He never feels genuinely loved or appreciated, even after all of his success in Hollywood. His destructive behavior throughout the series is mostly motivated by his complete reliance on the opinions of others on his own self-worth. Moving from this, we also learn about the pursuit of validation the BoJack seeked.
You go around the horn the way God intended.
BoJack's fervent need for acceptance fuels his quest for popularity. He feels that the love of the world will make up for the emotional gap left by his childhood. But his deep-seated fears cannot be compensated for by fame, wealth, or fan adulation. His dissatisfaction increases with the amount of affirmation he seeks, which drives him to self-destructive behaviors, including substance misuse, poisonous relationships, and harsh deeds against people who are closest to him. Over the course of the show, BoJack constantly undermines his own aspirations at happiness. It appears like a turning moment in his career when he gets cast in the biopic of Secretariat, his idol. But his incapacity to handle the stress and his own fears cause him to make decisions that blow the chance. This is a common pattern in BoJack's life. His self-loathing and dread of failing drive him to explode anytime he gets near to doing something significant. Now, let's talk about the relationships and emotional isolation of BoJack. The sitcom uses BoJack's relationships as a lens through which to analyze the isolating nature of fame, and they are fundamental to his character growth.
House, great career, great life. That must be why I'm so goddamn happy all the time. You don't even...
Being well known makes it difficult for BoJack to build real relationships with people, whether it's his flatmate Todd Chavez, his biographer Diane Nguyen, or his agent Princess Carolyn. He is surrounded by people who are trying to get something from him. BoJack's inability to distinguish between his real self and his public character taints these relationships. Diane, in particular, becomes a pivotal figure in BoJack's life. As someone who sees through his facade, she represents the potential for real connection and understanding. However, BoJack's self-sabotaging tendencies prevent him from fully opening up to her. His relationship with Todd is similarly complex. While Todd offers unconditional support, BoJack's jealousy and selfishness cause him to repeatedly betray Todd's trust, further alienating him from the people who genuinely care about him.
I've been acting crazy. That phone call just pulled me back to reality.
BoJack views fame as a two-edged sword. It draws attention to him and shows admiration, but it also keeps him apart from real human connection. He feels stuck in a world where he has to perform constantly, both emotionally and literally, in order to be relevant. Following that point, it's also worth considering the addictions he was caught up in, which led to self-destruction eventually. BoJack's addiction to drugs and alcohol is not only a recurring theme in BoJack Horseman, but also one of the most poignant reflections of his deep-seated emotional struggles. Throughout the series, his substance abuse is portrayed as both a coping mechanism and a destructive force that propels him further into his downward spiral. BoJack drowns away his intense sentiments of regret, sorrow, and self-loathing by using narcotics and alcohol to dull the agony of his life. He chooses to use drugs as an escape because he finds it difficult to face his past or the tragedy of his early years, and thinks that the fleeting solace they offer is preferable to the painful truth of his inner conflict. BoJack's addiction affects not only him, but also everyone around him, causing rifts in their relationships. He isolates himself from the people who actually care about him due to his substance misuse, whether it be through his friendship with Todd,
John being the voice of reason.
his complicated relationship with Princess Carolyn, or his tense relationship with Diane. Every time BoJack tries to change his ways, his addiction pulls him back into a destructive cycle. BoJack's already acute loneliness is made worse by the fact that he repeatedly ruins the precise relationships that might be the catalyst for his recovery. The farther he descends, the more he is trapped in an unending cycle of addiction and loneliness. What makes BoJack's struggle with addiction so compelling is how it mirrors the experiences of many real-life celebrities who find themselves caught in the destructive cycle of fame and excess. The entertainment industry often chews up and spits out its stars, promising them the world while providing little support for their emotional and psychological well-being. Like many public figures, BoJack is constantly in the spotlight, and the demands of upholding his image as a celebrity have a negative impact on his mental health. Not surprisingly, fame turns into an additional load that exacerbates his unsolved traumas and inadequacies. BoJack's addiction is a metaphor for the shadowy side of celebrity in many ways. BoJack finds the public attention, financial affluence, and fan devotion to be superficially glamorous. The more he achieves, the more he realizes that none of it brings him to the satisfaction or peace he seeks.
But I know I'm a piece of shit. That at least makes me better than all the pieces of shit who don't know they're pieces of shit.
Instead, fame magnifies his inner demons, making it harder for him to escape the cycle of addiction. He feels empty all the time, because he is looking to the outside world for approval. Although these things only make him feel better momentarily, they fill the emptiness. The series doesn't hold back when illustrating the terrible consequences of addiction. At his lowest, we witness BoJack ruining not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him. He is inebriated, high, and incapable of functioning. His addiction leads to several catastrophic events, including career sabotage, ruined friendships, and moments of public humiliation. BoJack is really a self-displeased man, and his drug addiction is a mirror of his destructive impulses. The more alcohol he consumes, the more he isolates himself from any possibility of forgiveness and attempts to forget who he is. Ultimately, BoJack's addiction is both a metaphor for his personal pain and a commentary on the entertainment industry's role in perpetuating these cycles of self-destruction. It shows how fame and addiction are intricately linked, with many stars using substances as a way to cope with the emotional weight of public scrutiny. For BoJack, overcoming addiction isn't just about quitting drugs or alcohol. It's about confronting the deeper emotional wounds that led him down this path in the first place. This naturally leads us to our next question, which is he able to redeem himself? Whether BoJack is able to be saved is one of the main mysteries of BoJack Horseman. Can someone as deeply flawed and damaged as BoJack ever truly change? Throughout the series, we see BoJack make numerous attempts at self-improvement. He looks for professional assistance, tries to patch up his connections, and even makes an effort to atone for his previous transgressions. But it's never an easy road to atonement for him. He appears to take 2 steps back for every stride he goes ahead. His ingrained fear of failing and his self-destructive habits frequently thwart his attempts to improve.
You can't keep doing shitty things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay.
BoJack's arc is a reminder that change is not a linear process. It's messy, painful, and often comes with setbacks. In the end, BoJack's journey is less about achieving redemption and more about accepting responsibility for his actions. He discovers that even while he might never completely be free from the effects of the past, he can accept responsibility for his actions and make an effort to go on in a more healthy manner. Following that point, it's also worth considering the effect that fame left on him. BoJack Horseman provides a somber analysis on the connection between mental health and celebrity. The show depicts how fame can exacerbate pre-existing mental health issues, leading to a cycle of depression, anxiety, and self-loathing. BoJack's struggles with addiction, loneliness, and self-worth are all amplified by the pressures of living in the public eye. The series also explores the way society romanticizes and commodifies mental illness, particularly in the context of celebrity culture. BoJack's personal suffering is further muddled by the media's and people's frequent exploitation of his hardships for financial gain. Ultimately, BoJack Horseman serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of seeking validation through fame. It shows how the pursuit of external approval can lead to a life of emptiness and despair, particularly for those who are already struggling with their mental health. Building on that idea, let's dive deeper into the culture of fame. BoJack Horseman doesn't just critique the individual pitfalls of celebrity life. It goes further, aiming a sharp, unrelenting lens at the entire culture of fame and the entertainment industry as a whole. Hollywood, in the show, is portrayed as a soulless, exploitative machine, where the pursuit of fame and profits trumps any sense of morality, human connection, or authenticity. The industry is painted as a place where stars are propped up on pedestals, as long as they are profitable, only to be discarded or ridiculed the moment their popularity fades. Not only does this harsh reality harm the people in the spotlight, but it also harms the culture that elevates these flimsy representations of achievement. BoJack's experience working in Hollywood is quite dismal.
By the time you realize you're sinking, it's too late.
Despite being the lead character in a well-liked sitcom in the 90s, he finds himself forgotten and washed up, struggling to accept the fact that fame is not the magic formula for contentment or happiness as he had previously thought. In his youth, BoJack, like many aspiring actors and entertainers, saw Hollywood as a dreamland, a place where achieving success would bring validation, love, and a sense of worth. However, as he ages and his career wanes, he begins to understand the inherent emptiness of the fame he once sought so desperately. The program brutally attacks the way the entertainment business puts image, flimsy success, and financial fortune ahead of real human connection. This culture creates an environment where celebrities are encouraged to constantly perform, both on and off the screen, in order to maintain their relevance. The obsession with maintaining a perfect public image leaves little room for vulnerability, growth, or self-acceptance. This strain to maintain his image as a nice, funny TV personality causes BoJack to struggle internally all the time. Both in his professional and personal life, he feels as though he is performing a role, and the gap between his real self and his public persona only makes him feel more alienated. BoJack's regret is comparable to the disappointment of many real-life celebrities who pursue stardom only to find it less glamorous than they had imagined. The idea that becoming famous will provide happiness, acceptance, and a feeling of direction turns out to be untrue. Rather, BoJack discovers that his sense of emptiness increases with his level of achievement. His public admiration, fortune, and fame don't make up for the emotional hole that haunts him. BoJack, like a lot of real-life celebrities, must face the heartbreaking truth that success cannot mend what is wrong within.
Everybody loves you, but nobody likes you. And that is the loneliest feeling in the world.
Through BoJack's journey, the show lays bare the ugly truth that fame and success are not the ultimate goals that they are often made out to be. Hollywood's promises of fulfillment, happiness, and validation are nothing more than a mirage, and those who chase them often find themselves more lost and broken than when they started. The narrative of BoJack serves as a warning about the perils of looking to celebrities for approval and the psychological toll that being part of the entertainment industry can have on people. In the end, BoJack Horseman offers a powerful critique of the dark side of fame and the toll it takes on those who seek validation through it. BoJack's character arc is a tragic one. He is a man who has achieved everything he thought he wanted, only to realize that it was never enough. His pursuit of fame and validation leaves him emotionally empty, alienated from those he cares about, and trapped in a cycle of self-destruction. Through BoJack's story, the show reminds us that fame is not a cure for emotional pain or insecurity. In fact, it often amplifies those feelings, leaving individuals more vulnerable than ever before. The series is a poignant exploration of the human condition, offering a sobering reminder that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from the applause of others.